In my mind, his time is already up. Sadly, whether he's good or not, his time is up.
Once a giant, always a giant. For me, it's only a giant.
What's going on YouTube? Diggy546. Definitely hit that subscribe button if you're new. Like the video if you like the video. And I won't tell if you click that bell. But let's go ahead and get into this. Alright, so first off, playoff Monday, the Monday after our first playoff win since I was literally a freshman in high school and now I'm 25. So do the math on that. It's been a long time since I felt this good about the Giants winning a playoff game because it's been that long. Literally, the Saquon Barkley rushing touchdown was the first rushing touchdown the Giants had since Ahmad Bradshaw's touchdown in the Super Bowl. That's a fun fact. So, crazy stuff. But I wanted to address something because I saw a bunch of comments of people saying, Diggy, why are you saying, why are you pulling receipts on Daniel Jones? You've been hating on Daniel Jones. I have a couple of clips that I'll throw into here, but one thing I will say is one thing I have to take crow on, one thing I'm going to have to eat crow on is definitely me saying that Daniel Jones wouldn't be able to make enough of an impact this year to be back as a Giants quarterback. I'll eat that. Listen, I said that because just like pretty much 90% of Giants fans, 90% of football fans, everybody thought that the Giants would not be a playoff team this year. I thought that Daniel Jones would improve this year. I thought that he would look better. If you look at my preseason predictions, I'm not sure if I said them on my channel or on Cush's channel, the Hubs channel. I'm not sure which channel I said it on, but I had Daniel Jones throwing for like 29 touchdowns, less than 15 interceptions. I thought he would have a really, really good season. So I saw that, but I still just felt that Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen, if we weren't a playoff team, I just felt like there was no way that Daniel Jones would be back. I thought that they would not want to commit to him. I thought I was wrong. I was wrong. I thought they wouldn't be able to commit to him after this 1 year because I thought the team was so bad around him that we just would not be able to make the playoffs this first year. We would not be able to be as solid as we've been, as competitive as we win every single week. I thought Daboll was a good coach, but I did not think that he would win Coach of the Year. This is crazy. So that's where I was definitely wrong. Now, some other things, as far as the people who think I've just been this Daniel Jones hater, I've kind of been I've kind of been so much of a Daniel Jones fan that I just got disappointed. I have a couple of clips. I don't know where I'll put them throughout this video, but pretty much Daniel Jones was a guy who was I literally used to make reaction videos of me reacting to a day in the life and day of Daniel Jones. Like I thought the dude could walk on water, pretty much. So I watched the aggressiveness that he came out with as a rookie. I watched him even his second year with Jason Garrett, and I said Jason Garrett is an idiot. Jason Garrett doesn't know what he's doing out there. The play designs were awful, which they were, like 100%. They were terrible. That Jason Garrett's offense was terrible, but also Joe Judge was terrible. Any kind of imprint that Joe Judge has on an offense, look at what happened to Mac Jones this year. The quarterback plays bad, so they both were terrible. They coached Daniel Jones out of what I liked the most about Daniel Jones, which was the aggressiveness, which was the decisiveness, which was the accuracy. Just the assertiveness playing the quarterback position. Those are all things that I liked about Daniel Jones, and it all got coached out of him. And I went 2 years, 2.5 years, 2 years in some games, not seeing the same quarterback that I really liked as the Giants quarterback. The aggressiveness was gone. No forcing the ball in the tight windows like Daniel Jones can do. No taking off and running when you see the opportunity to run. It just was just so structured. They turned Daniel Jones into a robot. They got Daniel Jones still recovering right now, not being as aggressive as he possibly could. But can we please give a hand out for Brian Daboll? And this isn't taking credit away from Daniel Jones at all. This is just Brian Daboll finally empowering Daniel Jones to be who he needs to be, to be Daniel Jones. Because literally, we had this guy scared to run. We had the guy scared to throw passes if a guy wasn't wide open. We just had this guy scared to take deep shots because Joe Judge and Jason Garrett coached that out of him. And I'll take responsibility. I literally believed that we would never see the original Daniel Jones again. I thought that he was just finished. I thought that was coached out of him, and I thought he would not come back from that. He would always be scared to make these decisions, always be scared to make these to make these types of plays. But I was wrong, and I'm glad I'm wrong. But as far as me being a guy who just didn't want him to succeed, that's far from the truth. Far from the truth. Another thing I said was, and I'll throw the clip here, I said that he would not be an elite quarterback. I think we can all agree that Daniel Jones isn't a top 5 quarterback, or isn't someone that's on that doesn't have that type of potential. So if you're not thinking that he's going to be one of the elite, it's kind of tough. Now, do I think that Daniel Jones is an elite quarterback? Yes and no, and I'll elaborate on that. Yes, I think he's an elite quarterback because he's doing literally what I've been asking for. Literally what I've been asking for. And I'll throw another clip in here before I move on. Pretty self-explanatory. Daniel Jones at this point finally is in a put up or shut up situation. He is in a situation where he has to prove himself, where he has to take that step up. He's in his 3rd year. He's an adult. He's not a rookie. He's not a 2nd year guy. 3rd year, 4th year, 5th year option if you make it that far, which hopefully, you don't want to be playing on your 5th year option as a quarterback. That usually means you're not doing a good job. But this 3rd year is when you start to make that step of being a top tier, player. It's not even about being an elite guy. You have to show the team, show the franchise, show the fans that you are the guy. So if you've seen these past 2 clips, you saw me say something along the lines of he's not an elite quarterback, and something along the lines of it's his 3rd year, and Kenny Golladay was added, which ended up being a bust. But it's his 3rd year, and he's got to step up and start making some plays and start making his teammates better. And guess what? He wasn't able to do that at times. And I called that out. But that doesn't mean I was rooting against the guy. I got the guy literally. You know how many good players the Giants have? I could have Thibodeau right here, and I could have Andrew Thomas right here. I got Daniel Jones here the whole season. He's been here the whole season. The last image I had before I had Dable and Shane, he was here. So don't give me that stuff about me rooting against the guy. Consider this. What have we placed around Daniel Jones to allow him to succeed? What have we given him to allow him to be that great quarterback that you're comparing Daniel Jones to Kyler Murray and Josh Allen and guys who have number 1 receivers and better teams around them? That's pretty much what you're doing. And it's not a fair comparison. It's just not a fair comparison at all. He's had his issues with the fumbles, but I mean, you see Trevor Lawrence yesterday. When you get a young quarterback under pressure all the time, and especially coming from his blind side, and he feels like if he doesn't make a play on that play, that the game is going to be over and his team isn't good enough to stay in that game, you're going to have a lot of fumbles. Pretty much. I gave him 3 years, and his 3rd year, once he wasn't helping those teammates ascend, once he wasn't elevating those teammates, I just said, listen, Joe Judge is coached it out of him. Jason Garrett is coached it out of him. He's just not the same Daniel Jones. But again, we got Dable, we lucked out, and we're getting the same Daniel Jones back. And I'm all for that. So that's where I was. For the people that were saying he just doesn't have the potential to be a guy that can lead a team, for the people that said that he just could never do it, that's where I was this past video, where I was saying, don't talk about my quarterback, because I always thought that he could do it if someone let him loose the way that we've let him loose. And looking at this game again, 300 yards, 70 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. Saquon ran it in from the 1. Who knows? Daniel Jones could have possibly run that in. And then a couple of drives before that, we ended up having to settle for a field goal after Daniel Jones ran in another touchdown. So flawless game in the playoffs. In my opinion, I talked a little bit about the elite quarterback stuff. In my opinion, if you're doing that in the playoffs, listen, you're in that elite quarterback. You're in that category. If you're doing that in the playoffs, you're playing like an elite quarterback. Now, in order to be an elite quarterback, in my opinion, you got to do this thing for 2-3 years for me to classify him. And I'm fair here. I don't classify Justin Herbert as an elite quarterback. I just don't, not yet. But unless you go off on for like 50 something touchdowns. But you got to do it for a couple of years in a row. But right now he's playing like an elite quarterback. If you can get 370 yards and 2 touchdowns in the playoffs and no turnovers, you're balling. You're balling. So for everybody that kind of had their opinions on how I was feeling about Daniel Jones, I hope this clarified it. May not clarify it for some people, but pretty much it is what it is, man. Like, he came out. I'm a Daniel Jones fan. I've been a Jones fan the whole time. He came out. He was aggressive. He was that guy we saw as a rookie. Yes, he had the turnover issues, which he's cleaned up, and which I've been a huge proponent of defending, saying they keep throwing these stats up there about how many turnovers this guy has had since he's a rookie, when most of his turnovers came in his first year. And in like the first 4 games of his second year. Since then, he's been like towards the bottom of turnovers. So he's been that guy. He came out aggressive for 2 straight years. He was a guy that was scared to pull the trigger on deep shots, scared to pull the trigger, and we still see that sometimes, just because of that coaching that coached that out of him. Scared to pull the trigger in any kind of risky situation, because Joe Judge really coached this entire team to be afraid to make mistakes. That's really what happened there. He coached this entire team to be afraid to make mistakes. Dable coaches this team to not be afraid to make mistakes, and guess what? They don't make mistakes because they're not thinking about making mistakes. So anyway, we have back the Daniel Jones that I was a fan of. We have back the original Daniel Jones. And that's how I feel about it, guys. Listen, if you guys still don't understand where I've been on this, I've been very level-headed and consistent. I haven't just picked a blind side to be on. In fact, I've shown a lot more delusion on Daniel Jones' side than the other side, being honest with you. So that's my apology to Daniel Jones. I'm not going to apologize to some of you people because some of you people are rude. But that's my formal apology to Daniel Jones. I said he could not be an elite quarterback, and it looks like right now he could be an elite quarterback. It looks like he can. It really looks like he can. So, again, you guys enjoy playoff week 2. Content coming soon for the Eagles game. I hate the Eagles more than anything. Literally more than anything. Anybody in my life, like, I can go into a deeper story next time, but anybody in my life that knows me knows that I literally cannot stand the Eagles. Like, if it's any team that I just do not like, it's always been the Eagles, and it's because of their fans. It's because of their fans. It's because of the miracle of the Meadowlands, the Jackson return. It's just because of a bunch of stuff, because of the blackout uniforms, and they beat us on Thursday nights, and it's just, I just can't stand them for a ton of reasons. So excited for this. Hopefully we can go out and just beat the brakes off of Philly. I would love that. I would love it. And if we're in the NFC Championship year 1, I mean, that's a huge W. Huge W. So again, that's my take on Daniel Jones. See you all this week. Enjoy playoff week 2. If you made it this deep into the video, come on, just hit the subscribe button. I make Giants content primarily, draft content secondarily, and during the season I'm going to be doing a lot of reacting to pretty much most of the NFL games and everything NFL. So if you made it this deep, go ahead and join the D6 squad.